Black Waitress gave a simple New Year gift to a Korean Mafia boss. He looked at it, froze completely, and asked only one question. How did you find this? The origami crane sat in Amara Bennett's palm, its wings perfectly folded from metallic gold paper that caught the cafe's warm light. Her hands trembled slightly as she wrapped it in tissue paper, then slid it into a small black box. Outside Eclipse Cafe's windows, Los Angeles prepared for New Year's Eve. Fireworks vendors on corners, party supplies in shop windows, couples planning their midnight kisses. Inside, Amara was preparing to give her heart to a man who didn't even know her real name. "You're really doing this?" her coworker Destiny whispered, eyeing the small box. "Girl, that's Lee Jun-woo. He owns half of Koreatown, and probably the other half too, if you know what I mean. You think he wants a handmade gift from his waitress?" Amara's fingers tightened on the box. "I've been making these since I was a kid. It means something to me. And maybe it'll mean something to him too." What she didn't say: "I've loved you for 12 years. I've watched you every day for 6 months. I know the way you take your coffee and the exact moment your jaw tightens when business calls come in. I know you, even if you don't remember me." Lee Jun-woo entered Eclipse Cafe at exactly 2:47 p.m., the same time he arrived every day. 28 years old, devastatingly handsome in the way dangerous men often were, sharp jawline, intense dark eyes, and a neck tattoo of a dragon that disappeared beneath his collar, marking him as someone who'd seen violence and survived it. He moved with the controlled grace of a predator, every gesture deliberate, efficient. The cafe was his territory, his legitimate business front, and everyone knew it. But Amara saw beyond the crime boss persona. She saw the way he paused at the window sometimes, staring at nothing with an expression of profound loneliness. The way he touched the origami cranes she left scattered around the cafe, decorations she'd convinced him to let her add, with something almost like reverence. The way he never quite smiled, as if he'd forgotten how. "Americano, extra shot," Amara said as he approached the counter, the same order he'd placed for 183 consecutive days. She'd counted. "You remembered." His voice was deep, accented with that particular soul inflection that made her chest ache with memories she'd tried to bury. "Good. I remember everything about you, Danny," she wanted to say. "I remember when you were 14 and I was 12, and you taught me to fold cranes in your grandmother's kitchen. I remember your real name, before you became Lee Jun-woo. I remember the summer you disappeared, and I cried for 3 months straight. Instead, she made his coffee with practiced efficiency, adding the exact amount of sugar he never asked for, but always wanted. When she set it down, their fingers brushed, just for a second, and electricity shot through her. Jun-woo's eyes flickered to hers, something unreadable crossing his features before his mask slammed back into place. "The cafe's closing early tonight," he said. "New Year's Eve. Staff gets off at 6. You have plans?" Amara's heart hammered. "No, my roommate's visiting family, so I'm solo this year." He nodded once, already turning away. "Go home. Celebrate somewhere. This neighborhood gets dangerous after midnight." A pause. "Be safe, Amara." The way he said her name, careful, almost tender, made her breath catch. She watched him retreat to his usual corner table, the one with a view of both entrances and the street beyond. Always strategic, always prepared, always alone. Destiny nudged her hard. "He told you to be safe. That's practically a marriage proposal from a guy like him. He tells everyone to be safe. He doesn't know everyone's name. Hell, he doesn't even look at me, and I've worked here 8 months. Destiny crossed her arms. "Whatever you got planned with that gift, you better do it before you lose your nerve." The cafe hummed with afternoon energy. Students on laptops, business meetings in hushed Korean, the eternal Los Angeles blend of cultures and ambitions. Amara moved through her shift on autopilot, hyper-aware of Jun-woo in his corner, taking calls in rapid Korean, his expression growing darker with each conversation. At 4:30 p.m., 3 men entered. Expensive suits, cold eyes, the particular swagger that screamed rival gang. The cafe's energy shifted instantly, customers suddenly finding reasons to leave, Destiny disappearing into the back. Amara's survival instinct screamed at her to hide, but she was frozen behind the counter as the men approached Jun-woo's table. The confrontation was quiet, deadly. Amara couldn't hear the words, but she saw Jun-woo's posture shift, from relaxed to coiled violence in a heartbeat. Saw his hand move to his jacket, saw the lead man's smirk. And then she saw the gun. Amara didn't think. She grabbed the coffee pot, still half full, still scalding hot, and rushed forward. "Excuse me, sir, you left your order at the counter." She stumbled deliberately, sending boiling coffee cascading across the gunman's arm. He screamed, weapon clattering to the floor. Chaos erupted. Junwoo moved like lightning, disarming the second man with brutal efficiency, while his security team materialized from the kitchen, from the back office, surrounding the intruders. Within 30 seconds, the threat was neutralized, the men being dragged toward the exit, and Junwoo was gripping Amara's shoulders, eyes blazing with fury and fear. "What the hell were you thinking? You could have been killed." "They were going to shoot you," Amara said, surprised by how steady her voice was. "I couldn't just watch." Something cracked in his expression. For just a moment, the mask fell away completely, and Amara saw raw emotion, shock, gratitude, something deeper that made her pulse race. Then he released her, stepped back, the walls slamming into place again. "Go home," he said roughly. "Now, before anyone else decides to be stupid today." "But my shift is over, Destiny," he raised his voice. "Get her an Uber, charge it to my account, make sure the driver takes her directly home, and waits until she's inside." 20 minutes later, Amara sat in her small studio apartment in mid-city, the gift box still in her purse, adrenaline finally crashing. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. "Thank you. That was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen." "Probably both." JW. She stared at the message. He'd never texted her before, never contacted her outside work. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard before typing, "Stupid, definitely, but I'd do it again." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, "Don't. Please. I can survive bullets. I can't survive you getting hurt because of me." "Why?" she sent before she could stop herself. A long pause, then, "Because some people are worth protecting, even if they don't know why." Amara's heart thundered. She looked at the gift box on her coffee table. The origami crane inside that she'd folded with the same technique a boy named Danny had taught her 13 years ago in a kitchen that smelled like his grandmother's kimchi. The same pattern, the same folds, the specific way of creating wings that could almost fly. She'd recognized him the first day he walked into the cafe 6 months ago. Not immediately, he'd changed so much, grown into his features, hardened in ways that broke her heart. But when he'd absently touched one of her decorative cranes, when his fingers had traced the folds with unconscious familiarity, she'd known. Her Danny, her first love. The boy who'd disappeared overnight, leaving only a note. "I have to go. I'll find you again someday, I promise." 12 years later, he'd kept his promise. He just didn't know it yet. New Year's Eve arrived with Los Angeles humidity and the promise of fireworks. Eclipse Cafe was closed, dark except for security lights. Amara stood outside at 6:45 p.m., gift box clutched in her hands, heart hammering so hard she felt dizzy. This was insane. She should go home, forget about childhood crushes and dangerous men who'd grown into crime bosses. Should protect herself from the inevitable heartbreak of loving someone who'd forgotten she existed. But she'd spent 12 years wondering what happened to Danny. 6 months watching Junwoo and seeing glimpses of the boy she'd loved beneath the dangerous exterior. And tonight, the last night of the year, she was going to give him a piece of her heart and pray he remembered what it meant. The cafe door was locked, but there was a side entrance she'd seen Junwoo use. Amara tried the handle, unlocked. She slipped inside, moving through the dark kitchen toward the office where a strip of light showed beneath the door. She knocked. Silence. Then, "Come in." Junwoo sat behind a massive desk, paperwork spread before him, a tumbler of whiskey at his elbow. He looked up as she entered, surprise flickering across his features before settling into carefully controlled neutrality. "Amara, what are you doing here?" "I wanted to give you something." Before the year ended, she stepped forward, setting the black box on his desk with shaking hands. "It's not much, just something I made." He stared at the box like it might explode. "You made me a gift." "Open it," she said softly. "Please." Junwoo's fingers moved to the box with unusual hesitation. He lifted the lid, pushed aside tissue paper, and went completely still. The origami crane sat in his palm, gold wings catching the light exactly as Amara had imagined. But his reaction wasn't what she'd expected. His face drained of color. His hand trembled. And when he looked up at her, his eyes were wild with something between shock and desperate hope. How did you find this? His voice was barely a whisper. Where did you get this pattern? Amara's breath caught. I made it. I've been making them since I was a kid. Someone taught me when I was 12. Junwoo stood abruptly, the chair scraping back. He moved around the desk with predatory speed, stopping inches from her. Show me. Show me how you fold it. With trembling hands, Amara pulled a piece of paper from her purse. She'd brought extra just in case. She began to fold. Valley fold, mountain fold. The specific sequence that created the distinctive wing pattern. Junwoo watched every movement with laser focus, his breathing growing ragged. The corner, he said suddenly. You fold it twice, then reverse. That's not standard origami. No, Amara whispered. It's a variation, a specific family technique. The person who taught me said his grandmother invented it, said it was special, meant only for people you... She stopped, the word catching in her throat. People you love, Junwoo finished. His hand came up to cup her face with devastating gentleness. Mara, is it really you? The childhood nickname broke her. Tears spilled over as she nodded. Danny, I found you. After 12 years, I finally found you. He crushed her against him, arms wrapping around her waist, face buried in her neck. She felt him shaking, felt the wetness of tears against her skin. Mara, God, Mara. I looked for you. I looked everywhere. When we moved back to Korea, I tried to find your family, but you'd moved. No forwarding address, nothing. I thought I'd lost you forever. We moved to Oakland, Amara sobbed against his chest. Mom got a job and we just left. I tried to find you too, but your grandmother's house was sold. Nobody knew where you went. I thought... She pulled back to look at him. I thought you forgot about me. Forget you? Junwoo's laugh was broken. Mara, you were the only good thing in my childhood. The only person who saw me, really saw me, before everything went dark. How could I forget the girl who taught me that kindness existed? Who shared her lunch with me when she barely had enough for herself? Who defended me against bullies twice her size? You defended me first, Amara said, smiling through tears. Remember? Those kids making fun of my hair, calling me names. You punched that boy so hard he cried. Got suspended for 3 days, worth every second. His thumbs brushed away her tears. You wore your hair in 2 puffs, always had paint on your hands from art class. You laughed like sunshine and cried during sad movies, even though you pretended not to. Your favorite color was purple. You hated mushrooms and you wanted to be a teacher someday. You remember all that? I remember everything, Mara. Every conversation, every moment. You were 12 and I was 14, and I knew even then that I'd never meet anyone like you again. And I was right. In 12 years, through everything I've done and become, I've never stopped comparing every woman I met to a 12-year-old girl with paint-stained hands and a smile that made me believe in better things. Amara's heart felt like it might burst. I recognized you 6 months ago. The first day you walked in, you'd changed so much. But when you touched one of my cranes, the way your fingers moved, I knew. But you didn't recognize me, and I thought maybe it was better that way. You were this powerful, dangerous man, and I was just the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen, Junwoo interrupted. Do you know why I came to this cafe every day? It wasn't for the coffee. It was because there was something about you that felt like home, like safety, like everything I'd lost. I didn't understand why, but I couldn't stay away. Why didn't you recognize me? You're a woman now. 12 years, Mara. We were kids. You've grown, changed. Your hair is different. Your style, everything. But he touched her face again, tracing her features. Your eyes. I should have known. Same kindness, same fire. I just couldn't let myself believe that after 12 years of searching, you'd walk back into my life serving coffee. I'm not a Mara to you anymore, am I? You'll always be Mara, my Mara. He said it like a prayer. Amara's beautiful, but Mara was what I called you when we sat in my grandmother's kitchen and you taught me that the world wasn't entirely cruel. When you held my hand after my mom left and told me I deserved better. When you promised that someday someone would love me for exactly who I was. I meant me, Amara whispered. Even at 12, I meant me. I loved you then, Danny, and I never stopped. Junwoo closed his eyes, jaw clenched with emotion. I don't go by Danny anymore. Haven't in 12 years. When I came back to the States, when I entered this life, I became Lee Junwoo. Built walls so thick I forgot what it felt like to be human. But Mara, he opened his eyes and they were blazing. With you, I want to be Danny again. I want to be the boy who believed in good things, who had hope, who knew how to smile. You can be both, Amara said. You can be the man you had to become and the boy you were. I'll love all of you. He kissed her then, soft and desperate and 12 years overdue. Amara melted into him, hands fisting in his expensive shirt, tasting salt from both their tears. When they finally broke apart, Junwoo rested his forehead against hers. I'm not a good man anymore, Mara. I've done things, terrible things, things that would make you hate me if you knew. Try me. I run the Beck Ho, the White Tiger organization. We control territory from here to San Francisco. Gambling, protection, smuggling. We're into everything. I've killed people, ordered deaths, made decisions that haunt me every night. I'm everything your 12-year-old self would have been terrified of. Amara pulled back to look at him fully. Are you cruel? Not without reason. Do you hurt innocents? Never. I have rules, lines I don't cross. Do you help your community? Everything I do is to protect Korean families from exploitation, to give them opportunities they'd never get otherwise, to keep them safe from worse organizations that would use and discard them. Then you're not the villain you think you are. You're just a man doing what he had to do to survive in a world that didn't give him better options. She touched the dragon tattoo on his neck. This doesn't scare me, Danny. What scares me is the thought of losing you again. My name is Junwoo now, Lee Junwoo. Then I'll call you Junwoo in public, Danny in private. You can be both with me. You don't have to choose. He crushed her against him again, and Amara felt the tremors running through his powerful frame. I don't deserve you. I'm going to do everything wrong. I'm going to fuck this up because I don't know how to be with someone without walls, without armor. Then we'll figure it out together, like we did when we were kids. Remember? You taught me origami. I taught you to paint. You protected me from bullies. I protected you from loneliness. We were a team. We were everything to each other. We still can be. Junwoo pulled back, suddenly businesslike, despite the emotion still raw in his eyes. We need to talk about practicalities. Mara, being with me puts you in danger. What happened yesterday, those men coming in, threatening me, that's my life. Constant threats, constant battles for territory and power. I can protect you, but I can't eliminate the risk entirely. I threw boiling coffee on a guy with a gun yesterday. I think I can handle danger. That was impulse. This is choosing a life where you'll always have security following you, where you can't go anywhere without me worrying, where rivals might try to use you against me. Are you really ready for that? Amara met his eyes steadily. I've spent 12 years wondering if you were alive or dead. 6 months watching you from behind a counter, loving you in secret. I'm not walking away now because things might get difficult. I've survived difficult. I can survive anything as long as it means being with you. Something fierce and possessive flared in Junwoo's expression. Then you're mine. From this moment forward, you're under my protection. You quit the cafe. Like hell I do. I love that job. Mara, Junwoo, I'm not quitting my job, but I'll let you assign security if it makes you feel better. I'll check in. I'll be careful. But I'm not becoming some kept woman who hides in a penthouse. That's not who I am, and it's not what you need. He stared at her for a long moment, then laughed. A real laugh, rusty from disuse but genuine. You're going to be a problem, aren't you? The best kind of problem? Fine. You keep working. But you're moving in with me. Non-negotiable. I have a secure building, trained guards, surveillance. You'll be safe there. We've been reunited for 20 minutes and you want me to move in? We've known each other 13 years. I lost you once. I'm not taking chances. He pulled her onto his lap and Amara went willingly. Besides, your studio is in a terrible neighborhood. I've been worried about you for 6 months. You knew where I lived? I know everything about my employees, part of how I protect them. His hand traced patterns on her back. Amara Bennett, 26 years old, originally from South LA, moved to Oakland, came back for college, dropped out after 2 years due to financial issues, works 2 jobs, my cafe and weekend shifts at a bookstore in Los Feliz, sends money home to your mother every month, volunteers teaching art to kids at the community center. That's either protective or creepy. Both, probably, but Mara, the moment you became mine, Even before I knew who you were, I needed to know you were safe. So what now? We just start dating like normal people? Junwoo's expression turned serious. No, because we're not normal people, and this isn't a normal relationship. Mara, I need you to understand something. In my world, there are rules. Showing weakness gets you killed. Caring about someone gives your enemies leverage. If people know what you mean to me, and they will know, I can't hide this, you become the most valuable target in Los Angeles. Then what do? We make you untouchable. I announce publicly that you're under my protection. Make it clear that anyone who harms you in any way will face consequences that make death look merciful. And, he hesitated, and we consider making it official. Amara's heart stopped. Official how? Marriage. In my world, a girlfriend is a casualty waiting to happen. A wife is sacred. Attacking someone's wife starts wars that destroy entire organizations. It's the ultimate protection. You want to marry me? We just reunited. I wanted to marry you when I was 14 and you were 12, and we were too young to understand what that meant. Now I'm 28, you're 26, and I've spent 12 years knowing that no one else would ever be enough. So yes, Mara, I want to marry you. But I understand if you need time. Yes, he blinked. What? Yes, I'll marry you. Not because I need protection, but because I've loved you since I was 12 years old, and I'm not interested in wasting more time pretending I want anything else. Junwoo's control shattered completely. He kissed her with desperate intensity, hands tangling in her hair, pulling her impossibly closer. When he finally pulled back, his voice was rough. You're insane. This is insane. You're a crime boss who's been pining for a girl he knew for one summer 13 years ago. I'm a waitress who makes origami cranes hoping the man who taught her will remember. We're both insane. Let's be insane together. I don't have a ring. I don't need one. I just need you. He stood, lifting her with him, and Amara wrapped her legs around his waist. We're doing this right. Tomorrow I'm taking you to the best jeweler in LA. You're picking whatever you want. Price be damned. What happened to being practical? Practical went out the window the moment you walked into my office with a handmade crane. Now I'm just a man who found his first love after 12 years and has no intention of doing anything halfway. He carried her to the leather couch in the corner of his office, laying her down with careful reverence. We should talk more, plan, figure out logistics. Or, Amara pulled him down to her, we could celebrate New Year's early, just you and me and 12 years of lost time to make up for. I like the way you think, future Mrs. Lee. Don't get ahead of yourself. I might keep my name. As long as you keep me, I don't care what you call yourself. They made love on the couch in his office, desperate and tender, and healing something broken in both of them. Afterward, wrapped in Junwoo's arms, Amara traced the dragon tattoo that wound from his neck to his shoulder. Tell me about this. When did you get it? 3 years ago, when I officially took over as head of Baek Ho. The dragon is our symbol. Power, protection, wisdom. It marks me as the leader, makes me a target, but also commands respect. Does it hurt? Getting tattooed? Like hell, but pain is part of the initiation. Shows you can endure, that you're committed. He kissed her forehead. Tell me about your art. You wanted to teach. What happened? Amara sighed. Reality happened. Mom got sick, medical bills piled up. I had to drop out of college, get full-time work. The teaching dream kind of died. It doesn't have to stay dead. Mara, I have resources. If you want to go back to school, finish your degree, I'll pay for it. If you want to open an art studio, teach classes, I'll fund it. Whatever dream you gave up, we can make it real again. I don't want your money, Junwoo. It's not about money. It's about giving you back what the world took from you. You saved me yesterday. You've been saving me for months without knowing it, just by being kind and present and real. Let me save you back. You already have, just by remembering me, by keeping that promise you made when you were 14. What promise? You said you'd find me again someday. You kept your word even if it took 12 years. Junwoo's arms tightened around her. I kept looking. Even when it seemed hopeless, even when people told me to move on, I kept searching. Because Mara, you were the light in my darkness. Losing you the first time nearly destroyed me. Finding you again, it's like learning to breathe after drowning. We have a lot to figure out. I don't know anything about your world, the rules, the politics, how to be with someone in your position. You'll learn. And Mara, you're stronger than you think. You already proved that yesterday. Most people freeze when they see guns. You weaponize coffee. Amara laughed against his chest. What can I say? Waitress instincts. Outside fireworks started early. Some neighborhood celebration jump-starting the new year. Junwoo checked his watch. 11:47. We have 13 minutes until midnight. What do you want to do with them? Stay exactly like this. Holding you, making plans. Pretending the outside world doesn't exist for just a little longer. But the outside world had other plans. Junwoo's phone erupted with calls. 3 of his lieutenants, security team, business partners. He ignored the first wave. But when they kept coming, his expression turned grim. I have to take this. Something's wrong. He answered in rapid Korean, his tone shifting from soft to deadly in seconds. Amara didn't understand the words, but she understood the energy. Crisis, threat, immediate danger. When he hung up, his face was carved from stone. There's a situation. Rival gang making a move on our territory. They're hitting multiple locations simultaneously, trying to destabilize us while everyone's distracted with New Year's celebrations. What do you need to do? End this, fast, before anyone gets killed. He was already standing, pulling on clothes with military efficiency. Mara, I need you to stay here. Office is secured, reinforced. My security will guard the door. Don't leave until I come back. How long will you be gone? However long it takes. He pulled her up, kissing her hard. I'm sorry. This is exactly the kind of thing I was afraid of. Our first night together, and I have to leave you to handle violence. Just come back alive. That's all I ask. Always, I didn't find you again after 12 years to lose you now. One more kiss, then he was gone, leaving Amara alone in the office with armed guards outside and fear growing in her chest. The next 4 hours were agony. Amara tried to distract herself, scrolled social media, attempted to read, paced the office until she'd memorized every detail. Outside, midnight came and went with fireworks and celebration while she sat in lockdown, wondering if the man she'd just promised to marry was bleeding somewhere. At 3:17 a.m., the door finally opened. Junwoo entered, and Amara's relief turned to horror. Blood on his shirt, split knuckles, a fresh cut above his eyebrow. He moved stiffly like his ribs hurt. Oh my God, Junwoo! I'm fine. It's handled. But he let her lead him to the couch. Let her start cleaning his wounds with the first aid kit from his desk drawer. The rival gang won't be a problem anymore. We came to an understanding. An understanding that required you to get beaten up? I won the fight, if that makes you feel better. Their leader looks much worse. He caught her hand as she dabbed at the cut on his face. Mara, this is my life. Violence, blood, late nights handling crises. It's not going to stop just because we're together. Can you really handle this? Can you? What? Can you handle loving someone while living this life? Always putting yourself in danger? Coming home bleeding? Risking leaving me alone every time you walk out that door? Junwoo's expression cracked. No. Honestly, no. For the first time in my career, I was terrified tonight. Not of dying, but of dying and leaving you alone. Of breaking my promise before I even got a chance to keep it properly. Then maybe it's time to think about changes. Not immediately, not all at once. But Junwoo, if we're really doing this, building a life together, we need to figure out how to make your world less deadly. I can't just walk away. The organization, the people who depend on me, the territory we control, it's all interconnected. If I show weakness, rivals will attack. People I protect will get hurt. I'm not asking you to walk away. I'm asking you to find a different path. More legitimate businesses, less direct involvement in violence. You're the leader. Delegate. Build something that doesn't require you to bleed for it. He pulled her onto his lap carefully, mindful of his injuries. You're asking me to change everything about how I operate. I'm asking you to survive long enough for us to have a future. Because Danny, I just got you back. I can't lose you to a bullet or a knife or some territorial dispute. I need you alive and whole and here with me. What if I can't change? What if this is who I am now? Violence and blood and darkness? Then I'll love you anyway. But I'll also keep pushing you toward the light because I know it's still in there. I've seen it. The way you treat your employees, the community investments, the way you touch that crane like it was precious. You're not just darkness, Junwoo. You're also the boy who taught a 12-year-old how to make birds from paper and told her she could be anything. That boy died a long time ago. No, he's just hiding. And I'm going to keep finding him, piece by piece, until you remember who you were before the world made you hard. Junwoo rested his forehead against hers, exhaustion finally showing. You're going to be the death of me, Mara Bennett. Or the life of you. We'll see which one wins. New Year's Day dawned over Los Angeles with unseasonable clarity. Blue skies, cool air, the city recovering from its celebrations. Junwoo had fallen asleep on the couch. Amara wrapped in his arms, both too exhausted to move to somewhere more comfortable. Amara woke first, taking the opportunity to study him in sleep. Without the armor of consciousness, he looked younger, more vulnerable. She could see traces of Danny in the curve of his jaw, the way his lashes fanned against his cheeks. Her first love returned to her, transformed but still fundamentally hers. His phone buzzed. Another crisis, probably. But before Amara could reach for it, Junwoo's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist with reflexive speed. His eyes opened, immediately alert despite having slept maybe 4 hours. Sorry, reflex. He released her, sitting up with a wince. How long was I out? Couple hours. Your phone's been going crazy. It always is. But he didn't reach for it. Instead, he pulled Amara back against him. 5 more minutes. Just 5 minutes where I'm not a crime boss, or a leader, or anything except a man holding the woman he loves. They stayed like that until the phone's persistence became impossible to ignore. Junwoo finally answered, his tone shifting to business mode as he fielded reports about last night's confrontation, territory adjustments, and damage control. When he hung up, he turned to Amara with new determination. Get dressed, we're going out. Where? I promised you a ring, didn't I? And besides, I want the world to see that Lee Junwoo is officially off the market. 2 hours later, showered and in borrowed clothes from Junwoo's extensive wardrobe, Amara found herself in the most exclusive jewelry store in Beverly Hills, the kind of place where they served champagne and knew your name before you walked in. Mr. Lee, the manager bowed deeply, we're honored. Please, right this way. They were led to a private room where trays of engagement rings materialized, diamonds the size of Amara's thumbnail, settings that probably cost more than her yearly salary. She stared at them in overwhelmed silence. Too much? Junwoo asked softly. Way too much. Junwoo, these are insane. I can't wear something worth a car. You're marrying me. You're going to have to get used to insane. But he saw her genuine discomfort. Tell me what you want, not what you think you should want, what actually speaks to you. Amara studied the options, then pointed to the simplest ring, a single stone, elegant but understated. That one. It's beautiful without being ostentatious. The manager looked almost offended. Miss, that's our smallest offering. Mr. Lee, perhaps. She'll take that one, Junwoo said firmly. In platinum, rush sizing. I want it ready by tonight. Of course, Mr. Lee. Anything for you? Outside the store, Amara expected to go home, but Junwoo had other plans. They drove to a modest house in Koreatown, single story, well-maintained, surrounded by a small garden. Where are we? My grandmother's house. The one from before? I bought it back 3 years ago, kept it exactly as it was. I couldn't bear to let someone else live in the place where... He trailed off, but Amara understood. The place where we met. Want to see if it still feels like home? Walking through that house was like traveling through time. The kitchen where Danny had taught her to fold cranes, same tile floor, same yellow curtains. The tiny backyard where they'd played, where he'd first held her hand, where they'd promised to find each other again. Amara stood in the kitchen, tears streaming down her face. You kept everything, even the crack in the windowsill where I dropped that vase. Every scar, every memory. This house was the last place I was happy before everything went dark. Coming back here, bringing you here, it feels like completing a circle. Why did you leave? That night you just disappeared. Your grandmother, everything, just gone. Junwoo's expression darkened. My father, he was deep in the organization, owed money to the wrong people. They gave him a choice. Come back to Korea, work off the debt, or watch his family die. We left in the middle of the night. I barely had time to leave you that note. And your grandmother? She stayed, died 2 years later. Natural causes, but I've always believed the heartbreak of losing us sped it up. His voice broke slightly. I couldn't even come to the funeral. Too dangerous with my father's debts. I'm so sorry. She loved you, you know. Always said you were the daughter she wished she'd had. When she met you, she told me in Korean that I should marry you someday. I was 14 and mortified, but she was right. She saw what I was too young to fully understand. Amara wrapped her arms around him, feeling his grief like a physical weight. We'll honor her, make this house full of life again, fill it with family and laughter and all the things she wanted for you. You want to live here? Not the penthouse? I want to live wherever you are. But this place, it has meaning. It's where our story started. Maybe it should be where we continue it. Then it's ours, our home, our fresh start in the place where everything began. That evening, Junwoo picked up the ring and proposed properly, down on one knee in his grandmother's kitchen, speaking in a mix of English and Korean, his voice thick with emotion. Mara, I was a boy who knew nothing except survival when I met you. You taught me that there was more to life than a fear and pain. You gave me hope, kindness, a reason to believe in tomorrow. I lost you and spent 12 years searching, becoming someone I barely recognize, building an empire on blood and strategy. But finding you again, it's like remembering who I was supposed to be. You make me want to be better, do better, build something that isn't just power and fear. So I'm asking you, Amara Bennett, to marry me, not just to protect you, but because you're my past, my present, and the only future I want. Will you be my wife? Yes, 1,000 times yes. The ring slid on perfectly, catching the kitchen light exactly as Amara had imagined. And standing in that kitchen where two kids had once folded paper birds and dreamed of futures they couldn't imagine, Amara and Junwoo kissed, sealing a promise 12 years in the making. The next 6 months were a whirlwind. Planning a wedding that merged Korean traditions with Amara's family customs proved complex, especially when half the guest list were criminals and the other half were her mother's church friends who couldn't know about Junwoo's real business. My mom is going to ask what you do for a living, Amara said one night as they worked on seating charts. I can't exactly tell her, crime boss. Tell her I'm in import-export and property management. It's technically true. I import goods, export others, and manage properties all over the city. She's going to hate you. Mothers usually do. I'm marrying their daughter, taking her into a dangerous world. But Mara, I'll win her over, eventually, even if it takes years. Amara's mother, Patricia Bennett, was indeed skeptical when they met. A formidable woman who'd raised Amara alone after her father left, Patricia had sharp eyes that missed nothing. So, Mr. Lee, you own a cafe where my daughter works, and now you want to marry her. That's quite a romantic progression. Mrs. Bennett, I've known your daughter since she was 12. We were childhood friends, lost touch, and reconnected. I fell in love with her then, and I'm in love with her now. I know I'm not what you imagined for her, but I promise you, I will spend every day of my life making sure she's happy, safe, and loved. Patricia studied him for a long moment. Amara says you have a neck tattoo, a dragon. Yes, ma'am. And you expect me to believe you're just a simple businessman? No, ma'am. I expect you to believe that I love your daughter more than my own life and will protect her with everything I have. What I do for a living, it's complicated, but it's not directed at innocent people. I have lines I don't cross. Are you in danger? Is my daughter going to be in danger because of you? I won't lie to you. Yes, there are risks, but I've assigned security, changed operations to minimize exposure. Your daughter is the most protected woman in Los Angeles. No one will touch her without facing consequences that would make headlines. Patricia turned to Amara. Baby girl, are you sure about this? Because once you're married to this man, there's no easy way out. Mom, I'm sure. I've never been more sure of anything. He's everything I've been looking for, and I love him. Completely. Patricia sighed, but her expression softened. Then I guess I'm gaining a son-in-law with a dragon tattoo. Lord help us all. The wedding was beautiful. Traditional Korean ceremony followed by an American reception. Amara wore a hanbok for the first part, emerald green and gold, then changed into a white dress that made Junwoo's breath catch when he saw her. His side of the guest list was carefully curated, legitimate business associates mixed with a few trusted organization members who knew how to behave. Her side was family, friends from the cafe, former teachers, two worlds colliding in celebration. During the reception, Junwoo's second-in-command, a man named Park Min-ho, approached Amara quietly. Mrs. Lee, may I speak with you? Of course, and it's Amara. I'm keeping my name. Min-ho smiled. As you wish. I wanted to tell you something. I've worked with Junwoo for 8 years. I've never seen him like this. Happy, hopeful. You've given him back something we all thought was dead. Thank you for that. He gave me back myself, too. We saved each other. The organization is changing because of you. More legitimate operations, less violence. Some of the old guard resists, but Junwoo is adamant. He says he wants to build something his children won't be ashamed of. That's your influence. Amara felt tears prick her eyes. He never told me that. He wouldn't. But I wanted you to know. You're not just his wife. You're his redemption. The reason he's finally becoming the man he was meant to be. Later, during their first dance, Amara shared what Minho had told her. Junwoo's arms tightened around her waist. He shouldn't have said anything. But is it true? Are you really changing everything because of me? Not because of you. For you. And for me. For the future we're building. He pulled back to look at her. Mara, I've spent 12 years being someone my 14-year-old self would hate. Building power through fear, making decisions that kept me alive but killed pieces of my soul. And now? Now I want to be someone our kids can be proud of. Someone who builds instead of destroys. It'll take time. You can't dismantle a criminal empire overnight. But I'm committed. By our 5th anniversary, I want to be completely legitimate. That's my promise to you. And if the organization fights back, they won't, because I'm building something better for all of them. Legal businesses, real opportunities, protection without the constant threat of violence. I'm offering them a way out, and most of them want it. They're just afraid. Then we'll show them it's possible. Together. They kissed, and around them, 200 guests applauded. Criminals and civilians, Korean and Black communities, all celebrating a love that bridged every divide. 1 year later, Amara stood in the nursery of their renovated home. The grandmother's house expanded but still holding its original heart. She rocked their daughter, Jihye Patricia Lee, named for Junwoo's grandmother and Amara's mother. Junwoo entered quietly, watching them with an expression of wonder that still hadn't faded. She's asleep? Finally, your daughter has your stubbornness. And your beauty. He crossed to them, wrapping his arms around both. I have news. The last of our illegal operations transferred to legitimate businesses today. We're clean, Mara. Completely legal. Amara's eyes filled with tears. You did it. 4 years ahead of schedule. I had motivation. He kissed their daughter's forehead. Couldn't have my daughter growing up wondering if her father would come home, or if he was the villain in someone else's story. You were never the villain, just someone doing what he had to do to survive. Maybe, but now I get to be something better. Husband, father, businessman. Danny again, instead of just Lee Junwoo, crime boss. Amara set Jihye in her crib, then pulled Junwoo close. You're both. You'll always be both. The boy who taught me to fold cranes and the man who built an empire. The one who kissed me in his grandmother's kitchen and the one who killed to protect what's his. I love all of you. How did I get so lucky? I lost you once and thought I'd never recover. Now I have you, our daughter, a life I never thought I deserved. It feels like a dream. It's real. We made it real. 2 kids who met in a kitchen, separated by circumstances, brought back together by fate and origami cranes. Junwoo pulled something from his pocket, a gold origami crane, perfectly folded. I kept the one you gave me, the New Year's gift. It sits on my desk in the office, reminder of the night I got everything I'd been searching for. I have the one you made me when we were kids, kept it all these years, even when I thought I'd never see you again. It's in my jewelry box, my most precious possession besides you. They stood together in the nursery, watching their daughter sleep, surrounded by the life they'd built from broken pieces and 12 years of longing. Outside, Los Angeles hummed with its usual chaos. But in this house, in this moment, there was only peace. Thank you, Junwoo whispered, for seeing me, for waiting, for loving me despite everything. Thank you for remembering, for keeping your promise, for being brave enough to change. I'd change everything for you. I did change everything for you. I know, and that's how I know this is real. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth every sacrifice. 5 years after that New Year's Eve reunion, Amara and Junwoo stood in the newly opened Baekho Community Center, a massive complex in Koreatown offering job training, ESL classes, childcare, art programs, and resources for immigrant families. This is what you built, Amara said, squeezing his hand. Power turned into purpose. Violence transformed into support. You did this. We did this. You showed me what was possible. Gave me a reason to want better. Their daughter ran through the art room, now joined by a son, 3-year-old Daniel. Both kids bilingual, confident, growing up knowing their father as a pillar of the community rather than a figure to fear. Do you miss it? Amar asked. The power, the fear, the control. Junwoo considered. Sometimes there was a clarity to that life. Simple rules, clear enemies. But Mara, I was dying inside, becoming something monstrous. You saved me from that, gave me a better path. We saved each other. I was stuck too, working dead-end jobs, no dreams, no hope. You reminded me I could be more. Look at you now, director of community arts programs, teaching hundreds of kids, making a real difference. Look at you, respected businessman, philanthropist, father. The boy I loved grew into a man I'm proud of. Junwoo pulled her close, ignoring the people milling around them. I love you, Mara. From that summer when we were kids to this moment and every day between. You're my constant, my North Star, my reason for everything. I love you too, Danny. My first love, my only love, my partner in building impossible dreams. They kissed, and around them, the community center thrived, symbol of transformation, proof that people could change, that love could redeem even the darkest paths. Two kids who'd met in a kitchen and folded paper birds together had grown into adults who built something beautiful from